You've landed on the Lonely Diplomat podcast, and wherever you are in the world, welcome and Happy New Year. Happy 2022. I hope that 2022 brings much joy, happiness, success, and good health to you and yours. My name is Phil McAuliffe. I'm the Lonely Diplomat, and I have a site, thelonelydiplomat.com, which has content on my blog, podcast, and in my book, all designed to serve, support, challenge, and inspire diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life as they reconnect with themselves and the world around them. I do this because I know that this diplomatic life brings both dizzying highs and very isolating lows. And this life, this diplomatic life, is at once exotic, but also life. And we experience life, both the highs and the lows, often very far away from home, very far away from those who know us, who love us. And we can be, at times, very lonely and isolated from those who know and love us most. So my work is all about building community, letting you know as you live your diplomatic life that you're not alone. We all experience this, and actually creating a forum where we can bring some issues that affect each and every one of us to a greater or lesser extent at some point during living this diplomatic life. We can bring them out to the fore and have kind and honest conversations about them, because we know that just because something is difficult to talk about or other people don't understand, it doesn't go away because we don't talk about it. It doesn't go away because we ignore it. Actually, not talking about it and ignoring it makes the thing that is concerning us actually more powerful. So here at The Lonely Diplomat, we're all about having those kind and honest conversations about things that actually really matter to you as you live your diplomatic life wherever you live it in the world. So it's an honor to do this, and I'm so pleased to be back here for 2022. And this episode is all about the courage of change. And right now, today, it's New Year, and this episode just happens to be released on the 1st of January 2022. So this might find you wherever you are in the world. It's still 2021 and you're still yet to ring in the new year, or it could actually be 2022 and you could be nursing a bit of a dusty head, in which case I'll proceed respectfully and I'll keep the dull, the noises to a dull roar. New Year is all about, well, newness, really. And right now, scrolling through your social media, whichever platform you're happening to scroll through, it might actually be filled, if it's anything like mine, it might actually be filled with, inspiring messages about how to make 2022 your year, and helping you to make change and calling you forward and stuff. This is all really exciting and really, well, it's necessary. And it's very inspirational. And we can feel inspired to go, you know what? The 1st of January does seem like a good day to turn over a new leaf, to start something new, to do some change. Why it has to be the 1st of January, I don't know. Why it couldn't be the 20th of April or the 15th of October, I just don't know. But the 1st of January is often a time that we look to make these New Year's resolutions. So here we are. let's have a chat about that. Because while change and the concept of change, reading about it, listening to podcasts about it is at once inspiring. On the other side, when we put our feet to the edge and it's, a step into the unknown, which is the change, that's actually terrifying. And so, we can kind of psych ourselves out and go, you know what, I don't think I need to change right now. I think I might need to read some more. That's right. I'll read some more. I'll read another book, or I'll read another awesome podcast, read another awesome blog designed to help reconnect diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life. I'll read that. I'll reread that because that's just really awesome. Or I know what, I'll press play on a podcast about change, and that will, give me the answer. So I don't do change wrong. Dramatic pause there, because we can, as diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life, perhaps more so. I have a feeling, this is not a scientifically based study, but I have a feeling that we could be more reluctant to change and to do change for fear of getting it wrong, because we are generally phenomenally successful so far in life. And we perhaps have reached this point in our lives by doing well within the rules. And any kind of concept, or the concept of doing any kind of change, and perhaps deviating from those rules, what other people expect of us, fills us with absolute dread and terror. Even if we know that there are no other options left but to change, we still are looking for another way to do change in a way that doesn't upset people, doesn't draw attention to ourselves in the wrong way, and therefore invite judgment, or indeed the wrong kind of judgment. And so we kind of either hover at the edge, looking over the precipice, being terrified, and not actually taking a step, or convincing ourselves that that's far too dangerous. Let's try again. Let's take a few steps back and see, if reading, listening, talking about it actually makes for the change to happen. Change happens when you do something differently. And doing something differently requires so much courage that, well, how does one quantify courage? And the courage of change, the topic of today's episode, is one deliberately chosen for New Year, because you could actually be right now wrestling with some thoughts and feelings, and you're scared. And you could be wanting to do some deals, negotiate your way out of feeling this way, so you don't actually have to do the change that you know on some level that you need to do. What you need is to recognize that you are far more courageous than you could ever imagine. And generally, we're pretty courageous. We're a pretty courageous bunch, us diplomats and those who live the diplomatic life. We're very courageous. We, make a life out of packing up our house and our lives, and every 3, 4, 5 years, and going and living and working somewhere else for 3, 4, 5 years, and then doing it all again, starting new jobs, starting new schools, starting new friendship circles, meeting new people, saying goodbye to new people. Things that regular people who don't live this life don't have to do. We do. And we can do it with a smile on our face and a whistle on our lips, because that's par for the course. That's a known part of diplomacy and living this diplomatic life. We can get up and speak in front of, a room full of people about some part of our bilateral relationship between our country and the host country. We can speak at multilateral institutions about aspects of our work that, are very precise and technical. And we can do that. Might be a little scary, but we can do it. So remembering that this life requires us to live courageously, I want to say that you're capable of doing absolutely courageous things. Within you right now is everything that you need to make change happen. But let's not underestimate the power and the tremendous amount of courage that we need to do something different. We can often not want to do change until we know that we can get it right. And again, until we get it right, we'll go and read another book, another blog, go and listen to another podcast. We can go and talk to someone until we've got all the information and know stuff. And so we can make the change that we need to make. But here's a question for you that turns it on its head. For me, when I know that I need to make change, there's two questions. What would I do if I wasn't scared? And the second question is, what would I do if I knew I couldn't make a mistake? Now, within my life, over the last 5+ years, it's been a tremendous amount of change. And each change is, I thought, no, okay, that's done. I'm done now. And, something else would come up in life, and then I'd peel another layer off the onion. It's always the onion layers that is the metaphor for these kind of conversations. Each and every time I was absolutely terrified of getting it wrong, of upsetting people, of inviting the wrong kind of judgment into my life. And the person who paid the price for that most was me. And when I was a champion, consumer of information. And that's been helpful for doing what I do here at the Lonely Diplomat, and supporting and serving and challenging and inspiring you as you live your diplomatic life. That served a purpose there, but it didn't actually do the change. The change happened when I took a deep breath and said what needed to, started doing the change, said the uncomfortable thing, had the kind and honest conversations that were really hard, and then trusted myself to respond with when the response came to me. So I was, and I know I'm not alone here, and perhaps I'm speaking directly to you right now, but I would not do change unless I knew that it would exactly how it would play out, exactly what I would say, and exactly what other people would say back to me. And I would run this script, and I would only say something when I knew that everything was in place. Now, it's really common, but it's manipulative. It's manipulative, isn't it? So what I now do, and that's not easy, it's not fun, it's not pleasant, it's always terrifying. And so courage is needed. I know that I have what it takes and awesome people in my corner who can help me respond when something comes up, inevitably comes up after I've done something differently. I trust myself to respond with how things come back, respond to how things come back to me. You are capable of such courage too. I'm special, but everyone is special just like me. You are special just like me. In keeping that in mind, that you have the courage right now in making change, perhaps making change over this new year period, I want to share with you a couple of tips from me and my lived experience. This was phenomenally, this expression, I'm not sure where it's from, but it's really helpful for me because I fear, constantly afraid of what people think. Still, I'm going to admit that. But for me, it's great comfort to know, and this is proven time and time and time again, the maxim, those who mind don't matter. Those who matter don't mind. And unpacking that, those who bleat loudest, who complain or comment loudest about how you've changed, or something that you're doing differently is inconveniencing them, they don't matter. Those who matter to you most, including you, don't mind, and indeed want you to be awesomely and humanly you. But courage is courage itself sounds courageous, and we're inspired by courage. We're inspired by courageousness. But courage is like a muscle. And you don't go to the gym and, bench press 120 kilos on your first day. You go to the gym and you work up a little bit of progressive overload as you build up your strength. And courage is like that. So flex your courage muscles. Start small. Keep overloading. Keep challenging yourself just a little bit more every time you're called to be courageous. And celebrate your wins. Because for us who are high-achieving people, who have done well all the way through school, who have done well through university, who've done well in our career, we can deprive ourselves of celebrating our wins because there's always something next to achieve. And we achieve something and then we realize that, nope, hasn't filled that void within us potentially, and we're driven to do something else. That's not enough, need to do something else now, need to do this, need to do this, need to do this, always kind of leapfrogging our way through life, focusing on the what's next. Celebrating our wins, big, small wins, is important because it reinforces the power within us. It reinforces that we are capable of, and it reminds us that we are capable of doing fantastic things, of being courageous. So reward the small things, reward those small wins. Get okay with making a mistake. Remember, those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. You will make mistakes. It's inevitable. What you do with those mistakes, however, is up to you. We can use those as use mistakes in inverted commas as a reminder that we're not worthy. We can use them as another example for our Joes to use against us when we want to shame ourselves and to keep ourselves small. Or all the way through to using our mistakes as learning opportunities. And I hear this all the time, and I'm kind of, suppressing almost an instinct to mock there. About mistakes being learning opportunities, because they're horrible learning opportunities. If they are learning opportunities, they're really horrible, but they're powerful. And it takes, again, courage to sit with mistakes and learn from them. Course correct, reassess, but keep moving forward. Keep making the change armed with information gained from an uncomfortable situation. The final thing that I wanted to say is that the hardest part of change is asking for help. I find this, I can say this with great confidence that I know that I'm not alone in wanting to read and listen and talk about change and doing stuff rather than actually doing the change, because the talking about it, the thinking about it, the reading it feels like I'm doing something, but it's not. It's not. Often, and this is an uncomfortable truth, I need help. I need the expertise or the insight or someone just to listen about who's in my corner, who I know, who I trust, who wants the best for me, to listen to me and guide and suggest. And that's something that I find tremendously powerful for me. And it's something that I am happy to offer you. So if you're making some change, if you want to make some change and you need someone while you're living your diplomatic life, you need someone in your corner who you know will listen to you, who you know you can trust with your story, and who you know can suggest and guide and inform, working with you to take steps towards making the change that you want in life, please let me know if you think that can be me. Because we can set something up through my membership services of the Lonely Diplomat, where ambassador level, we have a one-on-one chat every month, and minister level, we have a chat every 3 months. All the details are on my website, thelonelydiplomat.com, and there's going to be a link in the episode description below. But know right now, going back to the crux of this episode, is that courage is needed when we contemplate, when we do change. Not contemplate change, do change. And I know that as the awesome human that you are, as you live your diplomatic life, you're capable of far more courage than you can ever understand about yourself. If you've got a question for me that you'd like me to cover in a future episode of the Lonely Diplomat podcast, or if you've got any feedback for me, please send me an email to admin@thelonelydiplomat.com. Reach out to me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on YouTube. And if you are listening to this episode through through Apple Podcasts or any other podcast service where you can rate my content, I'd really appreciate it if you could give it 5 stars. And the best recommendation, the best support that you can give me right now is to let others who are living the diplomatic life know about this podcast and the services that I provide. Thank you so much for your support through 2021, and I look forward to more of it in 2022. Again, Happy New Year and all the best to you and yours for 2022. It does sound like you're getting ready to go. So until next time, be awesomely and humanly you, because the world really does need more you.